Already at 310. Each committee has its own quorum. You would need 6 transportation. 6 board members. You would need 5, but they're not going to be voting on the signing out application. Oh. Yep.
if you're just tuning in, we're trying to wait to have enough members to hit quorum so that we can take votes. If not, we will still go ahead with our meeting and then maybe do something like a straw vote later in the dining out applications. So that could technically start. Okay. Okay. All right. Feels like. Here, wait. I'm gonna get very cozy next to you. Okay. Okay. No, it's okay. All right. Well, we'll get started. We're broadcasting, right? It's live. So, thank you for coming to our joint committee meeting for public safety and transportation. I'm the chair of the transportation committee, and Jerry is the vice chair of public safety. And we're having this joint meeting tonight because we wanted to focus on an agenda item that is quite broad so that we can accept a lot of different perspectives, but it's on critical intersections and corridors in the district. The context for this is it's a sort of a planning meeting. So what we wanted to do was to be able to take any comments and discussion points from committee members, from board members, and then anyone who's here from the public that wanted to provide their perspective. We'll do this both in the room and virtually. And we're saying it's a planning meeting because what we're doing is pulling this all together so that we can provide it back. And in a next committee, joint committee meeting that we would like to do with NYPD, DOT, and other agencies to go through this. We were notified in our December board meeting. I think it was our December board meeting about the NYPD having a lead on traffic enforcement specifically. No one remembers. Okay, it was in one of our last board meetings. It was the December, thank you. The December board meeting, that the NYPD does have a dedicated officer for traffic enforcement. This is a new development. And so again, as part of this tonight's meeting, being a planning meeting, we want to be able to raise and elevate some of the issues and concerns that we're facing in the district. So, so that's our first agenda item. It's a joint meeting. And then we're going to transition to the transportation committee members. Specifically, we have 3 dining out applications that are in front of the board. We'll go through those. I believe we'll have all 3 representatives from the businesses that are presenting on their dining out, outside dining proposals that are going to come. That transition will happen at 7:45, no matter what. So the plan is to basically have the first part of the meeting together and then transition by 7:45 so that we can have these 3 businesses come and share. And then as soon as that is done, I want to be able to actually talk about how we do the dining out applications and consideration for making a change going forward. Because I think this has been something that we've been doing and trying with the way that DOT set it up. But I think it's worth talking about the process going forward. So that's the agenda for tonight. Again, people are tuning in virtually. I can't see how many people are here, but I did just want to send the regrets that came from Cynthia, who's the chair of public safety, although I think she might be trying to join. Yes, amazing. So she's online to the degree that she can chime in. She's invited to, and John DeLooper, though, also at some point might be able to join virtually. But it's a tricky night for both to be here, but Jerry and I will lead this meeting. So I'm going to ask if we have hit quorum, although I think I know the answer to that between either committee. We don't have enough members here. Okay. You still need to call roll. Okay, so we'll pass to Jeremy to call roll now.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to start with the Public Safety Committee. When I call your name, please acknowledge. If you are joining us on Zoom, please remember to unmute, acknowledge your name, and then mute again. Let's start with Cynthia Jeffers.
Yeah, but she say.
Present.
Okay.
Thank you, Cynthia. Jerry Chan. Thank you. By the way, Cynthia, you don't count towards quorum. Thank you, Jerry. Joan Body. Thank you. Kin Fung. Hector Gonzalez. Moshe Hecht. Barbara Lee. Roberto Martinez. Thank you. You do not count towards quorum. Kamalik Ramos. I noted that you're here, and hopefully you're rejoining us as a panelist. You do not count towards quorum. Sam Sierra. Kalina Sorma. Kalina, I think I saw you on the participant list. Let me see. I do. Kalina, I am going to make you a panelist. Jiming Wu. Roll has been called for public safety. It does not have a quorum. Oh, I'm sorry, Julio Pena III. Thank you, Julio. You do not count towards quorum. We will move on to Transportation Committee. Katie Walsh. Thank you. John DeLuper. Joan Body. Thank you. George Cardona. Jerry Chan. Thank you. Jamie Freed. Daniel Kaminsky. Angie Lau. Angie Lau. Angie, I see you're here, but I see you have no audio connection. You do not count towards quorum. Roberto Martinez. Thank you. You do not count towards quorum. Gabino Morales. Maria Roca. Samuel Sierra. Faye Walker. Thank you. Roll has been called. Julio Pena III. Thank you. You do not count towards quorum. Roll has been called for transportation. There is no quorum.
Okay. So we will revisit if we have any resolutions or voting. We'll talk then about the approaches that we want to take. Okay, so I want to get started. We have a roving mic if we, when we call on anyone who's here to be able to talk about critical intersections. But again, this is a bit of a planning meeting and a discussion that we'll pull together, and then we'll be able to schedule the next one. So I have a long list from John DeLuper. I'm going to summarize some of the points, but I just want to make sure that I highlight them. And again, this full text will go in and into planning. The first key area that he's talked about is Third Avenue, which is something that this community board has been on the record for. We still do not have any kind of design improvement plans from DOT, despite the fact that this board voted on them on their proposal in February of 2024, so a year ago. We did chase them just recently over the last couple of weeks to ask DOT what's happening with the design improvement plan, and they wouldn't commit to a timeline of coming back to the community board. So that is, I can call in Cynthia in a few minutes. If that's okay, I'll just keep finishing going through this list from John. So Third Avenue, but I think specifically issues related to red light running at 60th and Third Avenue. So that's one of the things I wanted to make sure to add. And one of the requests that he has is making sure that there's a camera that's placed there because of the habitual red light running. Another issue on Third Avenue to highlight is all the derelict vehicles between 62nd Street and 55th Street on Third Avenue. That have been present for years. That's right next to the ball field that gets regularly used. And these never get ticketed or towed. So the issue of the design on Third Avenue, the issue of having red light cameras, and then also talking about these derelict vehicles. Another big issue on Third Avenue is related to sidewalk driving and parking. So people actually like parking on the sidewalk, so it's blocking accessibility. And the latest is people driving on the sidewalk is starting to happen. And that's especially true on 60th between 2nd and 3rd Avenue and 59th Street. And then I'll just add regularly blocked bus stops. So I think I'm sharing some of these ideas just to catalyze some other thinking that people might have, but specifically talking about block bus stops. So the buses do now have some of the bus routes do, some or all, have to be corrected on this, but have cameras so that they can start to capture any cars that are parked illegally. But it's just flagging specifically that this is an issue for both the B37 and the B63, that there are regularly blocked bus stops. And the last point I'll make is that in other community boards, in Community Board 6, which is Park Slope, which is Red Hook, and other communities in CB10, which includes Bay Ridge, there are several intersections on 3rd Avenue and 5th Avenue that have had changes, that have had improvements to the corners that are related to hard infrastructure. But to my knowledge, to our knowledge, that none of these safety measures have been implemented in our district. So it's happening down in Park Slope, it's happening in Bay Ridge, but we're not seeing it happening in Sunset Park or parts of Windsor Terrace. So this is one of the issues of framing as well. Okay, so I'm just summarizing some of those. I want to call on Cynthia. We did get emailed a couple of other constituent-related concerns that I'll come back to in a few minutes, but if Cynthia had her hand up, Jeremy, we can call on her. I believe, that's what I overheard. Okay, great. Okay, great. Thank you, Cynthia.
Hi, everyone. My apologies for not being able to be there in person. However, I did want to share and give some background as to the purpose of the meeting so that we're really focused and really are able to relay our concerns to the appropriate agencies. So when Commanding Officer Suarez was here, she did mention, her EXO did mention that they were making a focused effort on traffic enforcement, and particularly for double parking. It was a big issue on Fifth Avenue where trucks were making deliveries and double parking. And at that time, she had said she was planning to assign someone. She is now an inspector, so she is no longer at the 7-2. We do have a new commanding officer. So the purpose of this meeting is to really be clear about the areas that we feel should have more enforcement so that we're able to make a concentrated effort. And simply saying all of Fifth Avenue, all of 8th Avenue, all of whatever is not sufficient. If we could pinpoint particular places, I know that for deliveries, for example, at the last meeting, it was brought out very specifically 47th Street and Fifth Avenue in front of the Seatown. That there was a lot of issues there with the trucks being double parked. So I just urge everyone when they're speaking to be very specific about information that you're giving us so that we're very precise with locations so that we're able to do that enforcement and we're able to make a concentrated enforcement in the areas of concern for the community. And I thank those community members who already emailed us with not only specific locations, but pinpointing on a map exactly what the issue is and where the issues is. The more precise information we have, the better chances we are at correcting it. Thank you.
Excellent. So I'll turn to Jerry, if you wanted to add any specific points, otherwise then we can go out to any of the board members.
No, I just want to add that, a couple of days ago, right, you saw the news. I know it was in our district. I know it was in our district, right? It was somewhere else that people was parking on the fire hydrant, and then the firefighter couldn't get to it, and someone got killed. So adding to Cynthia, right, is not just about what she's added. You guys see a lot of folks that decide to park in fire hydrant overnight again and again and again. Please let us know too.
So, yeah, I'll turn to those that are in the room and then we'll go virtually, and we have a mic that's out, and I'll turn to Joan specifically. And to Cynthia's point, we're taking notes and we'll make sure to capture the minutes.
I have 2, possibly 3. 39th Street and 5th Avenue. Driving up tonight, I couldn't, they were triple parked. So 39th, between 39th and 40th, that has to be looked into also. And Windsor Terrace, the Prospect Park West Circle. There has been many accidents there. It's very confusing. So if we could put that on the list also. I have a question for Jeremy. Jeremy, have you had any complaints lately about the Park Circle by TD Bank?
Not about Park Circle itself, but traffic backing up down Southwest.
Yes. Traffic, since they put the light on Sealy Street, the lights are not synchronized to the way they are on Fourth Avenue. They should be synchronized the way they are on Fourth Avenue, so the traffic flows where it doesn't back up and then the light changes on 2 blocks further down, and that's an issue. So that's all I have right now. Thanks.
Thank you.
I've got two right next to each other, Prospect Ave at 4th Ave and Prospect Ave at 3rd Ave. At 4th Ave, you've got folks trying to get on and off the subway, and usually people are really far into that intersection, making it really difficult to cross. And then at 3rd Ave, it's really well marked that if you're in the left lane, you're going left, and if you have to be in that second from the left lane to get onto the BQE, but there's always 3 lanes going into 1 lane to try and get onto the BQE, and same thing, like if you're a pedestrian, if you're a biker, if you're a car, it's just completely blocked there.
No, Sam and just walked in. We're just going through any critical intersections or locations in the district, and we're trying to be as specific as possible. This is related to transportation, public safety, related to enforcement, so that we can have a list that has the critical sites. So if you wanted to add to that at all. Do we have any hands up virtually? Okay, so I'll give you guys a minute in the room, and then we'll just go to people online. Thank you, Jeremy. Okay.
Rona Welsh, you can unmute yourself.
Hi there. Am I on?
Yes, you are.
Thank you so much. I wanted to draw your attention to 20th Street, please, between 4th and 5th Avenue. There is, this block is a combination of residential and commercial, including warehouses and other things. You know this block well because it's the block that also, along with the rest of 20th Street, has become one-way, life-changing. But one thing that is continually a problem are trucks doing illegal things. In particular, there's a poultry processing plant on that block. The address of it's either 206 or 208 20th Street. The issue is that their delivery trucks, in order to face the way that is most convenient for their unloading, decide to back down the street. So basically, they're going the correct direction of traffic, but they're actually driving in reverse down the entire block. And they do this almost daily, except for Sundays, usually between 5 and 6 a.m. Yes, they have their loud beep on and reverse, but there are definitely pedestrians around. The other thing is that these same trucks, once they do park, either double park next to each other, so you have 2 wide trucks, one in the loading zone, which they have in front of their place, but then another will pull up right next to that truck, or they will park directly on the sidewalk, again, so that it's easier for them to unload. So there have been times when there's actually been a truck on the sidewalk, a truck in the loading zone, and a truck in the street. So making it impossible for any pedestrian to cross down the street, but also narrowing the lane of traffic. And just sort of a note that I have reported this to the 72nd precinct more times than I can count. I've also talked to City Council office, and they are equally frustrated at the unresponsiveness of police officers. So I bring this to your attention, though this is an address that they should know well.
Thank you.
Yeah, do you have, besides talking to the NYPD, do you put any 311 complaint? If you have those numbers, right, it's actually be better for us.
Yeah, if, in general, if you are ever logging a 311 complaint about traffic enforcement or any community issue, you can always forward it to the community board office. So that's BK07 at cb.gov.nyc. No, I butchered it. Go for it.
.nyc.gov. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay. Thank you so much. And we have added that to the list. And there's 2 other hands up, I think.
Severn Clay Human. You could unmute yourself.
Hi, guys. Thanks for this. I have a comment about the phased construction in the median on 4th Avenue. I think we're on steps 3 or 4. And what they've done is they, because the median requires additional space for the construction, they remove the bike lane and they remove the parking and shift the 2 lanes of traffic each way on 4th Avenue over. But what happens, and this has been happening since they've been doing it, is that people then park in one of the lanes, and it seems like they should either enforce the no standing zone, or they should just leave the parking and the bike lane and narrow the traffic down to 1 lane, because what happens anyway is that the traffic narrows down to 1 lane because people are parking. I don't know if that's a NYPD issue or a DOT issue or what, DDC, I'm not sure.
Enforcement is NYPD. So if it's double parking, it's illegal double parking that's happening.
Well, it's also that the plan sort of doesn't fit with people's behavior. So one option would be just to go to 1 lane and leave the parking in the bike lane. And frankly, I'd be fine with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just as I have one more with a hand up, just as a reminder, if you wish to speak, please use the raise hand function and we will give you the opportunity to unmute yourself. We have Robin Wertheimer next. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you so much for letting me speak. I am a longtime resident of Windsor, well, considerably. I've been on the same corner in Windsor Terrace for 17 years, and it's the corner of Vanderbilt Street and Prospect Avenue. There used to be a stop sign 1 block over on Reeve, and once the traffic light was put in, people started speeding more down the hill to make the light. So I think our intersection got a little bit more dangerous, but I've seen DOT there. And as I understand it, they're going to put in a traffic light on our corner on Prospect Avenue and Vanderbilt Street. And I would like to just suggest that perhaps a stop sign and a speed bump would be safer, because the cars that come around that corner, they're heading towards the Prospect Expressway. They make a right and then they make another right to get onto the Prospect Expressway or to cross over the bridge. So there's a ton of cars that come whipping down to make that right turn. And I think it would be really helpful to have a stop sign and a speed bump rather than a traffic light that would bear, like, that people would, if it was yellow, they would come faster. So that's just by input. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. I have Victor Ortega next. Victor, you can unmute yourself.
Hi, I think you just answered the question in the chat, so thank you that the request was made for the B63 bus. I hope it goes through. No question, it's answered. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no additional hands up here.
Victor, I noticed you put in the chat the double parking between 36 and 46 on Fifth Avenue. So we just want to make sure that we note that, Katie, as well.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Sorry, I'm not monitoring the chat, so I just need to ask.
Yeah, that's how come I
about-
asked them to mention it, Mr.
Fifth Avenue
Ortega.
between 36th and 46th, he put in.
And that's a 10-block stretch. Is there anything right?
I know
Yeah.
personally, Fifth Avenue and Fourth Avenue at 39th is a terrible, both of them are terrible intersections. Fifth Avenue and 36th has been made better, but it is still a difficult one because of bus turns and there's a school there and a car wash.
And like I stated earlier, Katie, that goes into 47th Street between 46th and 47th Street where their C-Town is. Lots of double parked cars. Really, it's a double parked trucks making the deliveries. That was brought up at several board meetings as well. So it fits in with the streets that Mr. Ortega brought up.
Thank you.
I think you could also add 7th Avenue between 42nd to 60th Street too. 7A Avenue. Double parking.
Okay, so we're gonna go back in the room and Joan has the mic and then you can get it from her.
Katie, this is just a question. Did DOT ever get back to us about what they were going to do at 60th Street and, well, the entire stretch?
No, I can look up, they said that they did put in what they said were some design safety improvements. What did they do? Did they put in a speed bump? No, not a speed bump, you need a mic. I can also look for,
They lowered they lowered the speed limit thanks to Sammy's law to 15 miles per hour from 5th Avenue to 2nd Avenue. That was an immediate implementation. What they're planning on doing is making the pedestrian crosswalks more visible. I think they're also planning on doing bulb outs. But that's the extent of the improvement on 60th Street.
Thanks. So actually, Jeremy, you mentioned a bunch of the ones I was going to mention, but I'll just plus one a few of them. So actually, the biggest emphasis I have is what the speaker 2 speakers ago was saying about 4th Avenue. I'm a cyclist. It's how I commute everywhere. And when the bike lane drops off, so you're routed onto 4th Avenue because it's safe and it's protected. And then, sorry, and then the bike lane drops off, and then all of a sudden you have cars behind you honking at you, and it's pretty terrifying. So that's my biggest thing about biking around this district is we need to figure out something with that. I thought the recommendation that that speaker had was fine of just having it be one lane of traffic as an option. I'm not sure what the solution is. That certainly seems like one. That's my biggest note. The other intersections where my heart tends to beat a little faster, 5th and 39th, as mentioned, and 5th and 36th, certainly with the turning buses, and there's just a lot happening, and the cars coming both ways. So those intersections, and the other one is 4th Ave and 40th Street with the gas station going north. So, you know, you have cars pulling into the gas station and out of the gas station while you're moving along with traffic, and that can get a little hairy sometimes.
That gas station is closed now.
Did it really? Oh, I didn't see. Okay.
Hi, good evening. I don't know if this intersection has been mentioned at all, but I'd like to make sure that it is mentioned. And I'm referring to the corner of 56th Street and 2nd Avenue, right by the hospital. What we're seeing almost as a daily occurrence is all the ambulances parked there idling, they're parked in the crosswalk. Patients who have to cross 2nd Avenue have to actually walk in the middle of 56th Street to get to the other side because there's an ambulance blocking the crosswalk. And this is not something that happens periodically. This happens all the time. We have addressed this. We have shared this concern with the folks at NYU Lutheran, and they're still looking into it. Those conditions are not acceptable to the folks of this community, and we need to make sure that that is addressed. And I hope that my mentioning it here keeps it on the burner. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Sammy, for bringing that up. We are trying to mitigate that with some of like the construction, and you are correct. There are ambulances there. Right now it's peak time. We receive about 82 to 85 ambulances. So that's about 12 ambulances during every hour. And again, it's not an excuse. We are trying to mitigate that situation, but we receive ambulances, ambulettes, and sometimes they have to remain there to receive and discharge patients. So we are trying to work with the leadership in the ambulance department and EMS to fix that situation. I myself go out there daily, report back to leadership of how many ambulances are in that crosswalk. Some of the issues, it's not just specifically for ambulances. Again, today, perfect example, and I should have taken pictures. I took pictures of some other derelict derelict cars like within the area that are taking parking that can be utilized for those who are visiting the hospital or visiting family members or just going into the emergency room that are going with their own vehicle. So it's not strictly ambulances. There are other vehicles. Today, there was 4 vehicles. Again, I went out there. It was a 4-hour span, and the vehicles were cars. They weren't like ambulances. So we are really trying to mitigate that. We're working with the council member's office, and we have also tried to give as much feedback as we can. So that is not an issue. As a matter of fact, I spoke to one of the FHC board members today, Vi, which everyone knows, and just give us a little time. We are trying to take care of that hurdle with all the construction within the district, our own construction. It's going to take some time, but it's not, safety obviously to the hospital is #1 priority.
Could you introduce yourself so people know who
I
you are?
am so sorry. My name is Sarah Salaza. I work for the Office of Government and Community Affairs for NYU Health Hospital, Brooklyn. No
So
problem.
we're in the room, we're just taking comments on critical intersections in CB7, Sunset Park, Windsor Terrace. So just be sure to introduce yourself so we know where you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tony Bikiri, the owner of Cafe 58 Pizzeria and Grill. Me and my wife are the owners. We have the pizzeria on 58th Street and 2nd Avenue. They put a bus stop in front of the pizzeria, and it's very dangerous. There's no lighting there in the nighttime. Once it gets dark out, it's very, very, very dark on that corner, and people are speeding and going up the wrong way. And it's a very dangerous intersection. If somebody could really come take a look one day when it's dark out, after 5 o'clock and see, what's going on. There's been a lot of close calls there. We own the pizzeria there, and the ambulance is going and coming, and, people crossing the street. It's very dark. And maybe, somebody could talk to DOT and see if they could get maybe 2 or 3 lights going on over there. You have the people at Brooklyn Army Terminal waiting at the bus stop there. It's a little dangerous corner, and
This stop sign, or is it a stoplight? I can't remember.
No, I'm sorry. It's a traffic light.
It is a traffic light.
It is
okay.
a traffic light, but there's no lights at all on that corner, and it's street light. Yeah, and it's summertime, especially over there. There's a lot of kids and people walking to the pier, and you got Brooklyn Army Terminal there. It's very, very dangerous. I've seen it, and plenty of times, and we've been leaving on the lights in the pizzeria all night for safety of people, waiting at the bus stop and people walking their dogs and bikers with the bikes. So past maybe 3 months since, yeah, a little bit more, we've been leaving the lights on. This way nobody gets hurt or something happens to anybody. You're
So
welcome.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, and Jerry? Great. Okay, so we'll go Jerry, and then we'll go back to people in line.
Oh, I'm gonna say this all night. When you see something, right? Not just saying something or taking pictures. 311. When you get dial 311, I realized because this weekend I talked to one of the commanding officer. It was parking issues. The precinct have 45 minutes to react to it. That means they have to send a cop out there, okay, to close the 311 ticket. So traffic issues, right? 311, and send it to Jeremy too afterward.
Cynthia Jeffers?
Hi, thank you. I just want to add that part of the issue with the ambulance in front of NYU Brooklyn is the B11 bus stop right across the street. And I do know that the hospital has requested to see if that bus stop could be changed. Like Sarah mentioned earlier, they're getting large volumes of ambulances a day. And that's one of the requests. And I guess it aligns with what the gentleman was just talking about, the bus stop on 58th Street. I know there was at some point public comment for rearranging the bus lines. And I know lots of people who made suggestions, and I don't know one suggestion that was actually was implemented. So I would be interested to know what suggestions were made to reroute some of the bus lines. I know that a lot of people who made suggestions, but it doesn't seem like any bus line changes were made that was substantial. So I would just like to add to that and see if we could see what changes were made to any of the bus lines.
Cynthia, no changes have been made to the bus lines because according to MTA, they are still studying Brooklyn. They are about to come out with the Queens plan. The Brooklyn plan is not going to come out until the end of this year.
Interesting. Thank you for that, Jeremy, for that update. Appreciate it.
No problem. There's another.
Cynthia, I just want to make a correction. The
Sarah,
hospital did not
Sarah.
request.
Sarah, sorry,
I'm sorry.
yeah, we're running order of
Oh,
meeting.
I'm so
Thank
sorry.
you.
I just, because that has to be corrected because it's a.
We can pick it up. We're running the order of the meeting. Thank you so much.
Maria Roca?
Hi, everyone. I want to go back to, stay with the issue of the ambulances and at NYU Langone. There is a half of 56th Street between 2nd and 1st is empty all the time. And I've thought of this before when I've gone to visit someone, and I don't have a car these days, but I notice all the ambulances, and so many of them are idling, which I don't understand the psychology, why that is needed or allowed. But why can't the ambulances be staged on that the eastern end of 56th Street? And this is a suggestion in case it comes up in conversation between the board and the hospital, to have a staging area for the ambulances where you can still have a central lane that is through traffic on 56 between 1st and 2nd, but the ambulances can, with their motors turned off, staging, just waiting there until they're called to come around the corner and take a patient or go pick up a patient from there, instead of having that half of a very long block empty. So I've never understood that, but maybe someone can, suggest it when they're at the table with NYU Langone staff, that might be a solution to get the ambulances away from the base, the ambulance base on 2nd Avenue, get them out of the way, put them in a safe place right around the corner, motors off, and that mm, that would solve that problem. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you, Maria. Okay, is that it? You more, okay. Oh, Jeremy, you have a few. Okay, and then we can come back into the room if there's any other last points.
So, Second Avenue and 45th Street, that's where Urban Air is. We've had requests in the past for pedestrian safety there. There are a lot of kids who walk there. There's no safe means to cross because of all the trucks that are there. I would also include First Avenue and 43rd Street, also First Avenue and 50th Street, both of which are entrances to Bush Terminal Park. I would add Second Avenue and 39th Street, which is where the highway exit is. That is a dangerous intersection with several lanes of traffic coming from different different areas. 8th Avenue and 60th Street. Traffic, particularly turning traffic, is often a dangerous situation. Turning from 60th onto 8th. The Home Depot or the underpass by the Home Depot, there are a lot of pedestrians who use that, and there's no sidewalk. The highway exit at 10th Avenue off the Prospect Expressway. 20 years ago, we had people coming and to yell at us to put in a speed bump there. 3 months later, they came to yell at us to take out the speed bump. Folks are now calling on add a speed bump to that block because people come off of that highway. If they have the light, they often take that street very quickly. The highway exit at East 5th Street by Greenwood Playground. We get a lot of complaints that's a long strip until there's a light. Right next to the playground, a lot of people take that very fast to try to catch the light. And then I'm surprised nobody brought up double parking, parking on the median, and illegal parking around the precinct and our firehouses.
Civic location, so that's the 72nd precinct, and then the firehouse on. Yeah. Yeah, so there's it's private vehicles from the FDNY who are parking, and they're also parking in the turn lane as well. And they'll park in the precinct will enforce it. Okay, thank you, Jeremy, for bringing those up.
The second, the Home Depot underpass, there's like barely just a little side area for pedestrians, and there's usually people there. And then cars, there's also a signage issue because the cars in both lanes are trying to go straight and turn left. So there's usually a lot of cars veering around and then people on like a narrow, tiny passage.
But I just want to make sure for that one, what's the
I
intersection?
think it's technically 17th and 3rd, but it's like from where it turns off of Hamilton. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There are two sections of Third Avenue, so it confuses people.
Okay, so we'll come back into the room. Is there any other comments on critical intersections or corridors? Anyone else in the room that wanted to? Anyone else in the room? And then we'll move to close this section.
I'm sorry, so I just wanted to clarify that the request wasn't made official to DOT or MTA regarding the bus. Regarding Maria Roca, 56th Street is where the ambulance bay is at. First Avenue will be a little 2 ways down. Seconds count when someone's coming in. We're a level 1 trauma center, stroke center. So even something as 10 seconds, 30 seconds does count. And again, that would the ideally would be a great idea, and it would fix some of the problem, but that can't be done again because the ambulance bay is right on the corner of 56th Street, as well as the emergency department. Again, I can't stress enough that we are taking this very seriously. It is a matter of life and death for a lot of our patients. And so we're really trying to mitigate this. We're taking some of the data, because of the bike rack that was moved. We're, very conscious of that. And but again, it's going to take a little bit of time to capture the data to see if there's any hurdles that our emergency department is encountering when going up 56th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue, or vice versa.
Okay, so we're gonna, no problem. So let me go back, we'll go back online, and then we'll come back into the room.
Galina Sorma?
Hi, good evening, everyone. I work in the emergency department, and something that I'm not sure NYU has, but could be considered is we just started a collaborative with FDNY where they have 2 EMS workers and a lieutenant stationed in our ED. And their sole purpose is to help free up the EMS transporters. So, so far it's been working pretty well. Just something to consider to discuss with your FIDNY partners.
Marlene Boccato, you can unmute yourself. Marlene Boccato?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
You know, frankly, Jeremy, as you know, I planned to speak about another issue. But since you're talking about intersections, I've been talking to Robert Carroll's office for months about the intersection of Prospect Park West and Prospect Avenue, which does not have a red light camera. And I would, if I had a guess, I'd say 25% of the cars that go through there ignore the red light. And also they, like many other intersections, they will turn so close to you that, why there hasn't been an accident, I'm quite surprised. We've also asked for a speed bump because the stretch from Prospect Park West to 10th Avenue is there are 2 small intersecting streets. It's a speedway for some cars, and nothing has ever been done. I've written to the transportation commissioner, and it's just been ignored. And I don't know if there's something that the community board can take up regarding.
Right. So we're capturing all these corridors that you're talking about when people have specific locations. This is what we're doing in this meeting right now. So this is helpful information. Thank you.
Marlene, you may want to bring up the double parking issue as well now.
Can I bring up the idling issue?
Yes.
Okay, I'll try to make this as short as possible. I contacted the community board in October about a persistent problem on Prospect Avenue between basically Prospect Park West and Fuller Place, but mainly between Prospect Park West and Howard Place. On that street, during the summer months, Park Slope Day Camp operates out of St. Joseph the Worker Church, and it's a travel day camp, meaning that the kids generally don't stay there. They get picked up and taken to various activities. And these buses are there all day before 8 o'clock till after 4 o'clock. I mean, not all the buses. I mean, I have pictures and videos of 8 buses double parked along Prospect Avenue, sorry. I also submitted a letter with 29 signatures of my neighbors complaining about the excessive idling. I don't know how much detail you want me to go into. I think, Jeremy, someplace must have all the documents that I submitted, but I'd be glad to submit them again, including letters to the Archbishop and from lawyers that I paid last year to write to the day camp, the church, and the bus company. And the only person who's responded was the church, but they're getting revenue from this day camp. The day camp could care less about the idling, even though it affects children. The bus company, if the DEP comes along and they see them taking a video, they immediately turn off their engines because it's only 1 minute in front of a school facility, which technically it is. And this is good. This is going to happen again the end of June, and we're going to be breathing the air that these buses spew. And and in terms of double parking, I've called the precinct numerous times. One of the answers, well, they don't come. But one answer I got was, what did I expect the buses to do? Well, I'm not there to problem solve for the bus company. So I'm leaving it up to the committee to take this up or make a suggestion.
Thank you. Thank you, Marlene. And Jeremy did forward your information. So we do have a record of that with the signatures. So thank you.
So you're welcome. Where does this go from here?
We talked at the beginning of the meeting with public safety and transportation coming together for this meeting. What we wanted to be able to do was submit critical intersections to NYPD and DOT so that we could give them a list to go over. So the purpose of this meeting was to be able to gather everybody who could join in person to join virtually. And then if you're listening to the recording, you can send an email after so that we can escalate these specific intersections and problems in a coordinated way to DOT and NYPD for traffic enforcement. So that's the role of the community board. We can convene and we can try and catalyze action through our ability to coordinate. That is our ability as volunteers as part of the community board. So it's a way to be able to aggregate the information and be able to present it to the agencies and elected officials and NYPD.
But
Yeah,
frankly,
we're an
of course I'm
advisory.
concerned about the double.
We're an advisory board, so that's
Okay.
that'll be our next step. Yeah. So I do know that
So frankly, I'm concerned about the double parking.
Thank you,
I'm
Mark.
sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. Sorry. I
I'm
think
sorry.
it's part of the connection. So thank you so much. We were able to capture your input, and then we'll include it as part of this write-up that we send to DOT and NYPD. I want to be able to, we are going to need to move to another agenda item for the Transportation Committee, but I just want to see if there's anyone else in the room who hasn't added any comments yet, and then we'll move to wrap up. Okay, gentlemen, yes.
Sorry, I didn't mention it earlier before. The bus stop on 58th Street and 2nd Avenue, again, I totally forgot to let you guys know. That corner there is a very busy corner, and sometimes I see ambulances get stuck on that intersection where she mentioned earlier before, seconds matter, to get patients into the hospital, and that bus stop really gets so congested on that corner where sometimes I see an ambulance get stuck there for like, I would say 30 seconds. Nobody's moving. Everybody's blowing the horn because you got trucks driving into 58th Street going into the terminal. And, it's a real busy intersection there. That bus stop there has been causing a lot of traffic and a lot of confusion on 2nd and 58. And, I just want to let you guys know that, plenty of times we see ambulance, you have the window there to the pizzeria, and you see the ambulance are stuck right, dead stop, not moving nowhere. because the bus got to pick up the passengers and, takes a little time before everybody starts moving. And, before the island was there, everything was a very smooth commute in that section. But since they put that little island there, it's been, a little bit tough.
Okay, thank you. Well, we captured
welcome.
it. So thank you so much. So we'll, one more and then we'll move to wrap up.
5, 10 seconds, 20 seconds. Second Ave and I think 65th Street or maybe Shore Road where they're getting onto the Belt Parkway. So all the cars are getting on and off the belt. There's a lot of traffic and the bike lane is so protected. And all of a sudden there's cars coming in and out and it gets a little scary.
Good.
Some of that is our district, some of it is not. That one.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. So, thank you. And if you are catching the recording after, please do send this to us. Cynthia, I think you're still on. I just wanted to give you the chance if you wanted to add anything
Yep,
else.
I got it. No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to our colleagues on the Public Safety Committee for organizing this with us. Transportation Committee members, don't go far because we are going to move into the next part of our meeting, which is these dining out applications and a committee discussion. Don't physically move at all. Jerry, did you want to add anything else before we wrap up? Okay, great. All right, so I'm ending the joint meeting. Ending the joint meeting with public safety. If you're a public safety member, you're welcome to stay, but you don't have to. And then we're going to transition to the Transportation Committee meeting on the dining out applications. Yeah. So Jerry is a Transportation Committee member, so he's going to sit down. Okay, so we have 3 applications and a committee discussion. Jeremy, is it okay that we're starting before the set time? We didn't advertise the time. Perfect. Okay. So we have 3 applications and I might need your help to know if these are still in the same order that they were. Oh, we need to do a quorum call. Okay. For Transportation Committee members. Thank you.
No problem. This is a quorum call for Transportation Committee. When I call your name, please acknowledge. If you are joining us online, please remember to unmute yourself and acknowledge, mute yourself again, but unfortunately you do not count towards quorum. Katie Walsh?
Present.
Thank you. John DeLuper? Joan Body? Thank you. George Cardona? Jerry Chen? Thank you. Jamie Freed? Daniel Kaminsky? Thank you. Angie Lau? Angie, I acknowledge you. I see you cannot control your microphone. You do not count towards quorum. Roberto Martinez? Thank you. You do not count towards quorum. Gabino Morales? Maria Roca? I see your hand up, Maria. You do not count towards quorum. Sam Sierra? Thank you. Faye Walker? Thank you. Julio Pena III? Thank you. You do not count towards quorum. You have 6 in the room. That is a quorum.
Oh, thank God. Okay, so don't leave. Nail you guys to your seats. Okay, so just kidding. So we have 3 applications and maybe we can start out and we can pass these around if anyone wanted to look at them because I don't know. Are there additional copies outside or is this the only? This is the only version. Okay. So we'll have, we can start out with the first dining out application, which is for Cafe 58, which I mean, I'm going to invite you guys up. So I'll just say for anyone who's coming for the first time, dining out applications, this is a relatively newish process that has been coming in front of community boards, specifically by DOT. This is related to the outdoor dining sheds or outdoor table seating. So the businesses have to apply through DOT. The current process is that they, we then receive the application. So again, there's copies here. We'll pass them around of what the proposal looks like for the specific application. If it doesn't come in front of the community, if we don't schedule a meeting in the specific amount of time, it's 30 days or 45 days. It depends on the kind of application that's coming in front of us. It automatically goes to a public hearing process that the Department of Transportation runs. So once we go through these, we're going to talk about what our approach should be for Community Board 7 going forward. But this is right now, we'll have these 3 applicants come up, tell us a little bit about their proposal. We can ask questions, and then we'll take a vote on each of these applications. So pass over to you. And please, you can state your name and the business that you're representing.
Sure. My name is Blair Papagni. I'm here for Mike Kelly's office. The business is AB Cafe 58 LLC. I did bring some extra copies of our plans, which show the seating. If you guys need extras, I
Yeah,
have.
you can hand some out.
Okay. You want me to?
Or we can, sorry, someone else. Sorry. Thank you, Julio. Oh, we printed, okay, we posted all 3 of these applications in the community board newsletter that goes out. Okay, great.
So what you'll see is our roadway plan, which is on 58th Street. And it shows that we're going to take up 40 feet in length and 7.5 feet in width. There's going to be 42 seats at 21 tables. Ernesta has been operating this since July 12th, 2023. The business has been there for over 13 years. The hours that they had filed for included Monday through Saturday. Currently, they are Monday to Friday, and they plan in April, they're going to be adding Saturday. And the hours are 8 to 6 p.m. The structure that is going to be put up will be compliant with all DOT regulations. Are there any questions?
So I'll start out with a question, and if there's any questions in the room, we'll turn to you and ask. So again, this is well, I'll just start with the question. Have you had a structure up before, and then have you received any? Can you let us know if you've received any questions or complaints from any neighbors?
Can I invite one of the owners to come up with me? Okay. Because I know there has been, but I feel like.
Yeah, so just history on the site with the structure, and then just if you've heard any feedback from any neighbors that we should be aware of.
Tony Bikiri, Cafe 58 owner. We started it last year, and we have 0 complaints, 0 incidents. Everybody loves it. The community loves it. The park goers love it. The hospital staff love it. You know, it's a place where for them to come and relax and take a lunch break. So far, you know, everything's been going great, and you know, we're just trying to help out, and we're doing a lot of donations in the area. You know, contributions, and everything is great. 0 complaints. They're
Okay.
all lovers there.
Okay, that's helpful. And so I'll just take a question from the room before we move to a vote. I don't know if the mic is on. Okay, okay. Could you repeat the question?
I think she was just commenting on the location.
Okay. Any questions from anyone in the room? On this location? Okay, so you have to get the mic from. Okay, okay.
Sure.
Hi, this is Sam Sierra, longtime resident, Sunset Park. Again, I live in this community a long time. I work in Lutheran Medical Center over 30 years. Cafe 58 is a big part of our community. They're a great partner. They're a great neighbor. And I just needed to share that from my own personal experience, and happy to have you here.
On behalf of the owners, I want to say thank you for that comment.
Yeah, okay. No.
Anyone else?
Nope, nope. So the questions right now are just from board members. So sorry about that. Yeah, we have to. Thanks for your graciousness. Okay, Jerry.
So 2 questions, right? Uh, First question is, I noticed that right next to the building, there's a driveway, parking,
Yep.
part of the store, or is that not part of the store?
Is the driveway parking part of the store? Yes, but it won't affect the roadway parking. Or park lot.
My question is, you're not going to extend, my question is, you're not going to extend to the parking.
We can't extend beyond our storefront. Do you want to show on the map? It might be easier. Want to show Jerry?
Yeah. Not gonna put no fee. It's no fee.
Okay. Okay, so that building is also yours? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have no other questions from board members or comments from board members. Then I would go to, for this specific dining out application, then from board member. Okay, then I will go to the board member and then I'll come back to the community members.
I have a,
Cynthia Jeffers?
yes, thank you, Jeremy. Going back to Jerry's about the driveway, I noticed while it's noted as a driveway, it's not level to the ground. So how is it used? Because it's cars cannot park there, but it's not, you can't, cars can't go on there. It's not a gate that goes to the floor, to the street.
So it sounds like he's saying that it is a loading dock. That's how they receive any of their items that are
So-
deliveries.
So trucks back into that and on the
with a-
sidewalk,
Small SUV, small cars to load up, yes.
go on the sidewalk.
I would imagine that they have like a hand truck and they unload
Correct.
right there at the opening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Only to bring it up because it was brought up that trucks go there as well. We have had this location noted for that.
Okay.
Using that, it's not level to the ground, so you can't have trucks backing into it.
No trucks back into it. No, absolutely no. They double park there and they take all the merchant out of there and walk it into the store. No.
They also cannot double park.
They park there. They park in that spot. They unload and they bring it in my store.
Cynthia, are you bringing up it as a potential conflict, like a risk and a conflict between the?
Well, I'm saying if you look at the map, the way the driveway is, it's not level to the ground. So I'm trying to figure it out how it's used because I've seen it also myself. And the people from Sunrise have noted it that trucks go into that space to drop off deliveries. So it's either used or it's not. And that's what I was curious about because currently they had outdoor on the side of that. So if trucks are going in and out and that's where the outdoor dining thing is going to be, it could be a potential danger if you have trucks there and the dining out there as well, dropping off deliveries. That was my question.
They're dining out.
How are they
will
going to
not-
mitigate that?
The dining out only goes right in front of their building. It won't extend into that area.
Right.
I believe that he misspoke when he said double park. I think he means that they park there and then unload from that area. Okay.
Cynthia, does that answer your question though? Or address your concern?
It didn't, but it's okay.
Okay. Um, So your principal concern is that the way the design right now could potentially be, Cynthia, I just want to pull this out, that it could potentially be creating a conflict?
Well, they said it was a loading dock, right? So a permitted loading dock lets trucks go into that space. So the way it looks right now, and I'm only using a Google map, it has currently, I guess from the summer where they did have some outdoor stuff, an outdoor structure there already. So I'm just wondering the potential of trucks pulling in and out of that. It's not a big space.
If
So
I can just say
if it's a,
whatever.
if it's a permitted loading dock, that's one thing. But then how far are you gonna have the outdoor dining away from that? Because the way it looks right now, it would be the first thing right after that.
So whatever was allowed in the summer is different than what's allowed now. Whatever we have on our map is per DOT regulations. When he describes it as a loading dock, it's really their space in front of their building that they use to pull up a vehicle, unload stuff into the business, and then that vehicle leaves. We don't believe that that poses any extra threat than any other outdoor seating that has parking on either side of it.
Okay, I was just trying to understand because he said it was a loading dock. So
Yeah, I think
docks are
per
normally
the-
permitted because it has a big sign that says no parking. So if it's that, it's that. But that was my
Yes.
question.
Yeah, I believe it has no parking because that area is their area, but loading dock is just how he thinks of it, not perhaps what the legal term for it would be.
So is it permitted as a legal loading or driveway?
That I can't speak to if it's permitted as a legal loading area. Can you? He said it's permitted as a driveway. That I can't speak to.
Yeah, you can ask more questions, of course. We're gonna need to move to take a vote in a
I
minute.
think Cynthia's concern, and as I started to have the same concern, is if you are planning to have an outdoor dining, also including the barrier, I think that you have to have barrier, right? We're afraid that if a truck comes in, if it comes out, it will cut that corner, right? In other words, it will run into the outdoor dining.
Understood. So for us, though, there's no trucks that go in, and the barriers that we have are within what the DOT regulations are.
I understand that, right? We could say there's no truck right now. I mean, I don't know the delivery. Do you guys get large delivery or? You could stand up there.
Deliveries, it pulls up right in front of my store. They load the stuff on the hand truck and they walk right past the driveway to bring it into my store. So that's how, that's basically, that's what it is. They load up their hand truck and they use that as to bring my groceries into my store. There's no truck.
I'm sorry, I can't hear him.
There's no room for trucks. There's no room for nothing. It's just a small little spot, maybe 8 feet by 7 feet is just a little small spot. And then, it's not considered where a truck could pull in there. It's impossible for a truck to go there. It's basically just like a little driveway with no parking, and that's it.
So I'm also looking at Google Map. I see that, and I'm sorry, right? I see that there is a little break on the bottom.
Correct.
To me, right, that means there's no vehicle could go in. There's no vehicle could go inside the
No,
building.
absolutely no.
So again, I'm gonna say this. To me, that is not a driveway. It's no longer a driveway, right? Because it is.
We're saying the same thing, though, that we're saying we don't use it as a driveway. It doesn't go in there. We use it as a loading area, the same way that we would any other parking spot. It's just designated for this business to be able to park there, get the stuff out on a loading, on a dolly or a hand truck, and then the vehicle leaves. The same way any other parking spot would be. We don't believe that poses any additional risk with the roadway seating.
Okay. So I'm gonna just see if there's any other comments from the room, from the community, and then I'm gonna move to a vote. So, wow, this is a spicy application tonight. Okay, we still have 2 after this and a committee discussion.
I
So
have a question.
yeah. Do we have any, is that Pat? Was that a board member? Okay, go ahead, Pat. Thank you.
I'm curious as to how many deliveries a day will come to that spot, and how will it impede on the outside dining?
So I would say we probably get, the business currently is open 5 days a week. I would say we don't get any more than 2 deliveries per day. You think one? One a week? Okay.
And is
One a
that
week.
during your busy lunch hour schedule where you'll have a lot of people probably dining out and in?
He's saying it's between 7 and 8 a.m.
7 a.m. and 7:30 a.m. before the store is open.
Just
Thank
to
you.
remind everyone, the hours are 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Great. So, is it relevant to the proposal, the application, for anyone from the community? Okay.
Clarification. So in essence, that is a legal parking spot that has been vetted to do deliveries, but the deliveries are done through a hand truck. So it's a necessary, again, you said in this meeting, that parking is of essence in that, specifically that district, that area. Is it necessary to have that like blocked off, or because it seemed like that came out of nowhere? It's not permitted. It's not level to the ground. So it's that, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, those who are online, I think that's the question, is it possible to release that for parking?
I think that's a different issue, though, than what
Yeah.
we're going over here.
Yeah. So let's, I'm going to move ahead. Usually I do this by unanimous consent, but I'm actually going to just do roll call vote for folks specifically. So the application, again, is for AB Cafe 58 LLC. This is to support their dining out application for the proposal. This is for Transportation Committee members to vote on, and we'll do a roll call vote, and this is to support the application as proposed. So a yes vote is a yes, a no vote is a no. And we'll do roll call vote.
Thank you for joining us on.
Oh, does it need to be seconded?
Oh, that's true. Yes.
Second from Jerry.
Thank you. If you're joining us online, please remember to unmute yourself when you vote, cast your vote, and then mute yourself again. Katie Walsh?
Yes.
Katie Walsh, yes. John DeLuper? Joan Body? Joan Body, yes. George Cardona? Jerry Chan? Jerry Chan, yes. Jamie Freed? Daniel Kaminsky? Daniel Kaminsky, yes. Angie Lau? Angie, I see you're here. I cannot tell how you vote since you cannot unmute yourself. Roberto Martinez? Roberto Martinez, yes. Angie, if you could put your vote in the chat, I will record it. Gabino Morales. Maria Roca.
She can vote as a Transportation Committee member on resolutions.
Maria, what's your vote? Maria? Maria, you can put your vote in the chat and we will record it. Sam Sierra? Thank you. Faye Walker? Thank you. Both of you were yeses. 7 yeses, no nos, no abstentions. Motion carries. I will see if there are additional votes.
Thank you so much. Thank you for responding to all the thoughtful questions that the board members raised.
Maria Roca was a yes.
Great. And then we'll pass this along. We're going to move to the next application. And I believe we have a representative here from, this is Lepatic. Yes, excellent. So that was, the last one was easy, right? So come on up, introduce yourself, and then we will, so I don't know if there's extra copies, so we just have this original one. So it's okay. So if you can just let us know who you are representing, and then also just an overview of the plans. Thank you. And just make sure you speak directly into the mic so people can hear you.
All right. My name is Gregory Tito. I'm the owner of Le Paddock, and we'll be open for 14 years. And I'm applying for the Sidewalk Cafe. So it's the plan is we have 12 tables, so it's 24 seats. Well, I mean, we've been during the pandemic. We used to have like the Sidewalk Cafe, also the structure. We took it down, and everybody was very happy about having the opportunity to eat outside. And it kept after this, kept getting busy. So we just want to keep the sidewalk where we never had any complaint. And it's a very restaurant. It's for the community. People love our restaurant. We have a lot of regulars who live around. So I don't think it will be an issue for our neighborhood.
Excellent. And how many tables are out?
12
You said that?
tables.
Okay,
Yeah,
12 tables.
12 tables. And the
Um,
operating hours are from like 12 to 9:30, 10 o'clock on Friday, Saturday. So it's like by 10:30, everything is out.
Okay, and then the other question is just, have you ever received any suggestions or issues with any of your neighbors?
No, no.
Okay. So I'm going to turn to the board members if they have any questions. And Sam has the mic.
Hi, and welcome. Just briefly, can you share the location of the establishment with us, please?
Thank you, Sam.
It's 1235 Prospect Avenue.
Thank you so much. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Jerry. Thank you.
Are you planning to serve any alcohol?
Yes.
Have a
Yeah, we have a liquor license, yeah. So we are applying for the street. So we need this to apply like to get a liquor license to be able to serve outside.
Thank you.
Okay, and then Joan has a question
We have a full liquor license for 14 years.
or comment. Okay.
Well, let me say, I can't believe it's 14 years have passed so quickly. These are good neighbors. They're located in the Windsor Terrace section of Prospect Avenue. And we have never had any complaints. So,
Are there any questions from anyone online, Jeremy? Nope. Board members? Okay. Great. Okay. And not seeing any other questions from board members or community members. You can grab the mic, Dan.
There's a slight chance this is out of order, so Katie, you can tell me if so. In a minute, we're going to discuss our approach to this process. I would like to get your thoughts on this process. Business owner here. I think that would be helpful to inform discussion. So any thoughts on that?
Process of doing this?
Coming in front of the
Yeah,
board and kind of
it's
applying.
been
for-
like the city has been delayed for since it started the process, but it's normal. Like it's a lot of restaurants who apply at the same time, and like so. I mean, it's never didn't have any issue. Just taking a little time. I think the price was fair, and we've been lucky to have for many years like the possibility to have a free structure for like without paying anything. Now it's time to pay something. I agree with that.
Okay, so I'm going to propose that we move to vote on this one with unanimous consent. Do I have a second? Oh my God, all of you guys. Jerry, or Faye. Okay, so Faye seconded, and this is unanimous consent. It was seconded by Faye. I'll just hold to see if there are any objections. None. Okay. Nothing online, so then it's passed by unanimous consent to support your application. Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, and then we are going to go to Alora. Thank you. Sorry for saying that wrong. Mexican and Spanish restaurant. Please introduce yourself, say the location, the address, and if you can just give us the overview of your proposal.
Ray Laura's Restaurant at 272 Prospect Park West on the corner of 17th Street. And I have a couple seating diagrams if, yes. If you need more.
Yeah, so while that's being handed out, if you could just let us know what it is that you are proposing for the location.
The structure we have outside already is what we had like pre-COVID. We've had the same border since like 97, 98. Yes, thank you. And well, we're gonna be, the plan is to have 12 tables, 2 seats per table.
And then same question, have you had any feedback or questions or comments, from your neighbors? Has there ever been any?
No, we've never had any issues. We've been lucky with all our neighbors.
Okay, so I'll turn to board members if there's any questions or comments.
Well, again, I'll give comments. This restaurant has been there for quite a number of years. And I'll say it again, and the food is good. They have had the outdoor seating for a number of years, even before COVID, I believe. And they are good neighbors.
All right, if we have any other questions from the room, if not, then I'll go online. Jeremy, you said there's a hand up.
Cynthia Jeffers.
Yeah, just want to echo what Joan said. They've been very good neighbors, also very generous with the schools and doing cooking demonstrations and all that. So they have been around for a really long time and have demonstrated good neighborly practices. In particular, I know I could speak for the schools that they did some Cinco de Mayo and some other holiday things with the schools.
Thank you. Okay, so I will also propose that we advance this by unanimous consent. Do I have a second? I'm going to get Dan. Okay, and I'll just wait to see if there's any objections. Not hearing any, we'll pass this with unanimous consent. Thank you so much for coming. Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to ask transportation members, so we want to pass a resolution potentially, so just like hang on to your seat. So thank you so much for coming. Have a quick discussion now. This is the second and last agenda item for us as transportation members, and potentially pass a resolution. So we need to keep quorum in the room. So please stay in your seats for 10 more minutes. The discussion about the dining out applications. We've been doing this for several months now. I think it's very procedural. It has been very interesting to learn about these local businesses and have them come to the community board. That being said, I think it places an incredible administrative burden both on the businesses as well as the community board and the transportation committee in particular. You guys know that there are set limits. You have to review these between 30 and 45 days. If we don't hit quorum, we have to bring these to the full board meetings. We tried to bring all of these issues to DOT before this process rolled out, and they just, did not receive any of the feedback or any of the concerns or risks. And I know this is something that, Jeremy has brought up with them consistently. So we had this discussion. John DeLuper, who's not here, is the vice chair, Julio, Jeremy, at some point in the last couple of weeks, just trying to think what would a potential proposal pathway look like that could still work, so that we can still solicit community input and still get community feedback, for people knowing that, these applications are still coming to us. So one thing that Jeremy had, I will give him a chance to talk, is we've started to put these in the bulletins that go out. So I think that that's one way that they're coming to us. But I wanted to, before moving on to creating any kind of resolution, I just wanted to see if there's any other feedback about the dining out application process that people wanted to share. Jeremy, you first.
So we've been very lucky, and the business owners left tonight. I'm thankful we've had a number of them showing up because it's a little unfair to them in that it's dinner time hours and they're a restaurant. So to have them show up at an evening meeting, I appreciate that they do that, but it's difficult. It takes away from their restaurants.
Okay, so we have transportation members in the room. I haven't introduced a resolution yet. I just wanted to first solicit any input and feedback in terms of the dining out process of like what we've done so far. And then we can talk about, changes, what we might do going forward. But any other, Joan, and then maybe Dan, and then Sam, and then we can,
If this impedes their process, well, as long as they respond, it's nice to have them here. It's nice to see and discuss on a one-on-one. But have you heard them complain that they have to come here during?
I have not.
I'm raising this as an issue for our transportation committee and our community board as an administrative concern, with the volume of how these are going to be like rapidly coming in as soon as we get closer to the summer months. It's the concern about the volume of being able to handle these. And so the alternative, so just to say, like, what do other community boards do? So other community boards, I mean, do all different things, but they'll put it in their advisory, they'll put it in a bulletin, and then so that comments can be collected by the community board, by by the office, and then those comments, just like questions we raised tonight, those comments can then be sent to DOT. And then again, if they don't come in front of us, they go to the public hearing. So there is still a moment where there's a public hearing that has to get issued on the DOT site where someone who doesn't come in front of us would have to go. So Jeremy, you want to?
So I'll also point out that if you look at the application, while we take it upon ourselves to have yes, no votes, we actually don't have that ability when it comes to issuing the permits. We're just supposed to give them comments.
Yeah, so just like everything else, it's advisory more than anything else.
In that case, that's fine with me.
Okay. So I'm moving our discussion towards this resolution, which is to propose that, and again, I just wanted to like make sure we had time to talk about it as a committee so that we can bring it to the full broader community board at the next meeting, which is next Wednesday, a week from Wednesday. Any other thoughts that we wanted to capture, Faye? Or
Yeah, I think my instinct is to try and make it as easy as possible while still raising any questions that that people may have. My only question would be if they don't go, like if we say yes and send them on to DOT, would that in any way put them in a better position for the hearing? Okay.
I couldn't tell you what goes through the minds of the people at DOT.
Okay, yeah. I think then anything that makes it easier while still raising questions seems like a good idea, but that's my only concern.
I also wanted to say this is similar to liquor licenses, which we have a call-up process. We certainly don't bring the 300 businesses every 2 years in front of us. If there are trouble locations, we make note of it. We make our board members note of it, or the specific committee chairs. One of the first ones we received, Loren, we just put in comments. We did not take a position on it. The comments were we had received one constituent complaint about people using their space after hours. We shared that with DOT. I don't know if they took that into account or not. They issued them the permit.
Yeah, so at a high level, I'm interested in 3 things. Thing number 1, reducing our administrative burden. You've gotten to this. Thing number 2, and reducing the administrative burden on the restaurant. And the third is making it as easy as possible for them to get an application. I am of the belief that every single applicant should get an application. There's almost no situation where I can imagine wanting to deny, considering how crucial of a part of these income these signing out applications are for small businesses. So I think that Faye's question is a really important one. Of it is our process in any way help them then I'm interested in keeping it. If it does not, then I see no reason. And the other thing to say is that and this is more of a general comment, but our vote has often hinged on if they come or not, or if they respond or not. And I think places are busy, they can't always respond. I don't think that should be the sort of determining factor of whether we vote yes or no on an application, so.
So I'm gonna propose language for resolution. Do I need a resolution? I guess I'll do resolution. Sorry, I'm asking. Okay, so resolution that going forward after this date for tonight's meeting, for any dining out applications that come in front of Community Board 7, from here on out, we recommend that those, as it's been happening, but that those proposals would be put in the Community Board 7 bulletin, and that Community Board 7 will be available to receive any feedback or comments on those dining out applications. They will be compiled and then sent on by Community Board 7 staff, so that gives the public and gives people a chance, and board members, committee members, everyone, to provide feedback that way. And that will be our proposal process for the dining out applications. Do I have a second? Seconded by Joan. I'll just see if there's any. Okay, seconded by Joan for the resolution, and then I propose that we do this by unanimous consent. And I'll pause to see if there's any objections. Oh, okay. Are there any objections, sorry, to unanimous consent? No. Okay, thank you, everybody. So that is passed with unanimous consent. Thank you for staying in the room, for those that are here. And we'll bring this resolution for the dining out applications to the board meeting next week. Thank you so much, everybody. See you soon. See you next week.